as the Leader Insight meeting. And once again, I welcome all of you. Before we begin, kindly rise for the silent prayer. Now I would request our Vice President and Program Committee Chair to make the opening remarks and introduce the speaker.
Distinguished Chief Guest of the Day, Mr. Faraz Javeed, CEO of Abad Foods and Director Abad Fisheries, President Vibhu Punuran, Joint Secretary Mr. Anil Verma, respected past President Nirmala sitting here, Managing Committee members, young minds and invited guests. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to yet another insightful session of Kerala Management Association's Leader Insight series. Today's session marks the 47th program of this year. The year started on 1st June 2024. We have one more event on the 28th of this month, where Admiral Muralidharan will be speaking to us. So in 10 months, we will have close to 5 programs a month. We have also finalized programs for April, and we hope to go well past the half-century mark in 11 months. All these are true testaments to KMA's continued commitment to fostering meaningful dialogue, lifelong learning, and leadership across diverse sectors. On behalf of KMA, I extend a warm welcome to all our past presidents who continue to be our guiding light, and also to the Managing Committee members present here today. A special welcome, I think, to past Governor Venugopal Menon is here, I think quite a lot of people who have come. At KMA, we bring together thought leaders, industry pioneers, and innovators to help us navigate the ever-evolving landscape of business and technology. And today, we explore a subject that is close to each one of us, that is food. Bhakshanam, that's an interesting topic. With the rise of dual income households and increasingly busy lifestyles, dining out, whether it's restaurants, cafes, or through catering services, has become a regular part of our daily lives. Swiggy and Zomato are thriving. So also are all the cafes and restaurants. Sometimes I wonder if future homes will even have space for kitchen. A food for thought for our Joint Secretary and renowned builder, Verma Homes, Anil Vermaji. This shift has led to a boom in the food service sector, and with it, a growing demand for high quality, reliable, and world-class frozen and convenience foods. This evolution presents both exciting opportunities and complex challenges for the Horeca industry, that is hotel, restaurants, and catering. And it is in this very space that some of the most significant innovations are taking place. Many of us are familiar with the Abad Group for its leadership in hospitality, hotel, construction, and fisheries. But the scale of what's happening or the innovation happening within the Horeca in the segment may come as a revelation to many, and that's what makes today's session so relevant and exciting. We are truly privileged to have with us today Mr. Faraz Javeed, a young and dynamic leader who has been instrumental in transforming the frozen food and seafood landscape in India. Faraz is the CEO of Abad Foods and Director of Abad Fisheries. Under his visionary leadership, Brilla, I don't know how to pronounce it, Brilla, the flagship brand of Abad Foods, has become a market leader in the consumer frozen food segment, offering premium products that reflects evolving customer needs. Abad Foods is also a trusted name in the Horsika sector, delivering high quality frozen seafood and convenience food across the country. In 2011, Faraz founded Abad Foods, growing it from a small team of just 4 into a thriving enterprise with over 1,000 employees today. His entrepreneurial energy and strategic vision has taken the company well beyond Kerala and firmly established it on a national map and beyond. He also introduced Wild Fish, Kerala's first seafood boutique, a bold and pioneering initiative that brought a premium sustainable retail experience to the state. On a personal note, I share a long-standing connection with Faraz family. My father, late Uwad Khalid, was child friends with Faraz's grandfather, Hashim Usman, and his great-granduncle, Ahmad Usman, who is also the father of our member, Riaz Ahmad Usman. I grew up listening to stories from during their time together in Fort Kochi as part of the vibrant Kachi Memon community, an ethnic group originally from Kutch in Gujarat, known for its entrepreneurial drive and goodwill and integrity. Names like Y.M. Ilyas of Indo-Marine, Ahmad Usman, M.H. Ibrahim, Hashim Usman, and Mahmoud Ibrahim, who ran an orphanage in Fort Kochi, along with my uncle, were often mentioned in our home. That legacy of enterprise and service is something I deeply respect, and it lives on today through leaders like Faraz. I've been persuading Faraz to address KMA since October 2024, but his extensive travel schedule kept him busy. I am absolutely delighted that we have finally he has made it happen today. Thank you, Faraz, for being here today and for agreeing to share your insights with us. Beyond business, Faraz is also a remarkable human being, someone I have had the pleasure of working with Rotary Club of Cochin, where he is always willing to step up for a meaningful cause. He actively contributes to several professional and social organizations, having served as a past chair of YPO Kerala, incoming member, engagement officer of YPO South Asia, and past chair of the Cochin Backwater Roundtable. With his deep understanding of food sector, his relentless pursuit of innovation, and his inspiring leadership, Mr. Faraz Javeed is the ideal person to guide us through the opportunities, challenges, and future trends shaping the Horsika industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Faraz Javeed. And once again, my heartfelt thanks and welcome to all our past presidents present here, managing committee members, young minds, and invited guests. With that, I now invite our President, Mr. Javeed Noran, to deliver his presidential address. Over to President.
Chief guest and speaker of the day, Mr. Faraz Javeed, Vice President and Program Committee Chair, Mr. Arijaz Khalid, Joint Secretary, Mr. Anil Verma, Vice President Nirmala Lilly, Managing Committee members, dear KMA members, dear YM members, and all present here. Warm good evening once again. And once again, I stand proud before you because, as was declared about 10 months back, we are on track with the 47th speaker meeting for this year. I wouldn't say speaker because we've exceeded more than 100 speakers this year, but the 47th leader insight session, I could say, for this particular KMA year. And we have been getting topics after topics of varied interest and good speakers all the time, thanks to our program committee chair, who's always taken the lead in organizing very good speakers. Today we have with us Mr. Javeed, as and he has been rightly introduced already by our Algiers. When it comes to food, I'm sure all of us like food. All of us, I don't think anybody would say if we don't like one kind of food, the other kind of food would be appealing to all of us. And so that's the way we, live. And if someone asks you what is the best thing that you like, probably food would be always on our priority list. Many years back, when I traveled, we have a branch in Calicut, and when I went with my wife to Calicut, I think she was visiting Calicut at that point of time for the first time, and naturally, since I know Calicut in and out, I had decided that we would eat at all those joints that are famous like Sagar and Bombay Hotel and Paragon and all those names. There are so many names, and newer names have also come up. And the question that she asked me on that particular day was, "ഇവിടെ കോഴിക്കോട് ആരും വീട്ടിൽ ഒന്നും വെക്കത്തില്ലേ?" Because the hotels are full even in the night when you go at 10 o'clock. And very often in all these joints you have to eat outside. So that is the way eating out culture was there in Calicut even in those days. But today, I think that's the same across Kerala or across probably India too. Like he said, our Vice President said, Swiggy, Zomato have played a major role in, even bringing food from outside and having it at home. So when you look at it from that point of view, I think what Mr. Algiers said is very pertinent. Earlier, probably half the people sitting here, my age, above my age or below my age, welcome Dr. Gian. Below my age, perhaps, eating out or going to a hotel was always a luxury. Today, I think the way things are going, eating in is becoming a luxury. Rather, cooking at home, getting a good meal from home. Thankfully, in my home, it's still like that, but maybe probably the younger age group is not going to, it's not like that, and it's not going to be like that in the future because of all these convenience foods that have come in, and these home delivery apps that have come in. Today's topic is the embracing the modern food revolution. So when the topic of food revolution came up, I think two names came up on my mind, and one was Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, and the other was Dr. Verghese Kurian, because Dr. M.S. Swaminathan was instrumental in making India, rich in food, I would say, or the food revolution, or the green revolution that came into India, and Mr. Verghese Kurian, the milk revolution. So today, India is no more a country where food is scarce. I think food is available in plenty, and that plenty has led to all these kind of things that we just discussed about. And cashing upon that, probably groups like ABAD have come in, and it's very good for society in one way. But when we look at it from the other side of the story, if we don't get good packaged food, like wild fish as an example, I have visited this wild fish counter many times. It's a good innovation that has come to Cochin, because earlier, now it has come to a stage wherein we cannot actually buy fish from the market, because even the fish that they call fresh is sometimes sprayed with those kind of chemicals. So we have to trust good groups like Abad or the other groups who have promised to give us chemical-free fish or meat and all that. Similarly, when it comes to food, convenience is very, very important these days. Packaged, ready to cook, ready to eat, and whatnot. So many things like that are coming into the market. and they are convenience foods, of course. So all this put together, I think this new revolution, the new food revolution, revolves around something called convenience, and I think that is what Mr. Javed and his group, of course, it's a highly respected group, the Abad group, as we all know, and Mr. Algiers was talking about his personal connections with the group, and for all of us living in and around Cochin, we also know that definitely whatever Abad group has done, like they've got into hotels, the food in their hotels are very good. They've got into construction, their apartments are of good quality. They are into foods, so the foods that they serve in the hotels are good. And whatnot, everything that they have is resorts, all their resorts are world class. So anything and everything that they have done or are doing have a touch of class. So definitely we can also take it for granted that their new series of Brilla products, ready to eat, ready to fry, frozen foods are extremely good, hygienic and chemical free. We look forward to hearing from you, Mr. Javed, because this is a new topic altogether, and we would like to know the inside stories of how you made your empire within your empire. So over to you, and once again, thank you for having accepted our invitation, and we look forward. Thank you.
So, thank you everyone for inviting me here. Thank you, Mr. Algiers, for your kind words. Mr. Bibu for and Mr. Verma. So, I think I would come in from a belief that before I even got into this field, I believe that the quality of the food you eat comes down to the quality of the ingredients that go into it. So that's probably what I do. I actually work with good quality ingredients that actually work towards making sure the quality of your food that you eat is of a very high quality. So before we delve into it, I'll probably just start off. What is Horeca? So, Horeca means hotels, restaurants, caterers. Caterers is again an Indian term because it used to be called cafes world over. But in India, the catering segment is really important. So we said it's caterers because we got that song. But before I get into the main topic of what this is all about, I think I'll just come into food preservation. Because what we currently do is we get into the preservation of food in terms of what we do. So for centuries, humans have been, we have been working with food preservation. It started off with dried, not only seafood, for many foods, it used to be dried before. And over time it evolved, then we went into pickling, we went into brining, all these kind of different technologies. And the technological advancements, we went into canning and retort packaging. They termed, they were effective solutions, but today the mainstay of all this is frozen foods. Frozen foods is what we actually put out into the market, and that is what we are currently good at our machines. The future, we also have a lot of modified atmosphere packaging, a lot of freeze drying technologies which are coming. But freezing has been the preferred choice for the Horeca industry, the world over. So the modern customer demands, the current Horeca customers have very strict demands as far as freshness and quality is concerned. They want consistent supply, they want pricing stability, they want safety and hygiene, they want transparency and traceability. Now when you actually go in town, that traceability is a huge factor which is coming. Because when you go into the market, when you go into the fresh market, the chilled market, there is no signs of that, because from where it actually comes in, how it actually is processed, there is no track of what is happening in your food. So as you go forward into the market, you need to have something which is more traceable. You need to know where it's actually come from, and that is again something that we have worked very effectively on. So we are 100% traceable as far as Abad is concerned. You know exactly where all the different materials are come from. And convenience and efficiency. So when you're going in and trying some of these products, how the modern, you're trying to reduce the amount of steps you need to do in the kitchen. So for example, cutting, slicing, dicing, a lot of those things are taken care of at our back end. So we take care of all that in a very effective manner. So what's happening in Horeca, we consume a diverse range of food ingredients regularly. Due to the fragmented nature of it, it is not possible to procure all of these things together. So at Abad, what we have done is we have actually brought in a whole lot of this. So we handle many different category of products. We handle not only seafood. Now, we were primarily a seafood exporter, but today less than 50% of the products we do at Abad Foods is seafood. We work a lot with meats, we work a lot with poultry, we work a lot with Indian breads. We have our own manufacturing for Indian breads, parotas and the likes. We also trade a lot of products like from green peas to sweet corn to frozen vegetables. We work with dairy products, so we work with a whole diverse range. Everything that anyone in Horeca would need in the prime sector, so we provide all those things to them. And also, again, with the advent of FSSAI guidelines which have come in, it is next to impossible for a wet market to actually supply into a modern food outlet, because there's no chance they can actually meet the safety guidelines. So yeah, our journey, Abad Food, again, we are the pioneering catalyst as far as organizing Horeca goes. When I came into this industry, there was absolutely no one here. So it was more like a blue ocean in terms of what was happening, because you had a lot of fragmented, unorganized players who were playing in this market. So we started with seafood. We started to bring in some of our, the best, because I think when we started out, I said, okay, we need to do better than what we do in the export market. So the domestic market, our focus was to actually bring in much better qualities than what we had in the export division. So we were looking at every single product that was going out. Even today, I think we have our dedicated quality assurance staff who actually look at every single product that is leaving our facilities. And we started again with 3 people and 1 van, plus me, probably 4 of us. Today we cater to about 20,000 Horeca customers. So this includes some of the largest hotels, largest caterers, airline caterings. You can look at anyone who requires a proper supply. So we actually take care of the supplies to all of them. We cater from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So we have again our locations up till Hyderabad, but we have customers right now in Srinagar, we have customers in Ladakh, we have customers in the northeast, in Guwahati and Sikkim, and we also work in different parts of the country. We have 25 locations now, we are present, we are a 1,000+ strong organization, and we supply almost all kinds of frozen ingredients to Horeca, with an emphasis on quality. So that's something that we have been very, very mindful of. We want to make sure that every product that leaves our facility, we want to make sure that it carries a stamp of quality. So yeah, few questions. Fresh, processed, frozen, which is best? A lot of people ask me. Everyone says fresh is best. But again, how fresh is the fresh you're getting? I mean, in terms of when you actually get fresh, because I know the journey of the fish, for example. I mean, that's something which I hold very close. So when I actually go into the market, I know how many times the fish has actually changed hands. So sometimes a fish which comes in could be 24 to 48 hours old. This fish could have also been in a boat for maybe up to a week or 14 days. So how good is the fish that's actually coming? And a lot of these times you have heard in the past, what are the other chemical treatments that are happening? What are the other issues that are happening in this? So there are issues, and unless you have proper QC, quality controls everywhere, so we have our own in-house labs. So all the material that comes in, we check to see if what we are getting is of a pristine quality, because without that you can't really do anything. So, and again, how are people treating the fresh in your kitchen? So I know for a fact, my mother, of all people, I keep quoting this, and I say, okay, my mother, she would take a fresh fish She would portion it, she would take it, and she would probably go and put it inside the freezer. I think it happens to everyone. And then even after a month, that's still fresh fish, right? I mean, the material which comes out now, I keep saying that the frozen which comes out of my factory, say within, say 12 hours, it is frozen. So it comes in fresh from the harbors, it's cleaned, it's portioned, it's packaged, it's frozen. And it's frozen professionally. It's frozen at minus 40, minus 45. The freezer at our home is only, it goes up to minus 20. It is not designed to freeze, it's designed to store. A lot of people actually freeze at those temperatures, which is not ideal because I can go a little bit technical, maybe in detail, just to explain what happens there. Because what happens when fish is frozen at higher temperatures is the ice crystals which are formed larger than they need to when they do at lower temperature. It destroys the cell membrane, and then you have the dry taste, which you get with frozen. And so that's why a professionally frozen fish is a much, much better solution. Not only fish, whether it's meat or whether any other frozen thing, it's always better to go in for professionally frozen. Okay, so the frozen food industry globally. So again, this is more of a market size. The market is valued at $83.5 billion in the United States. It has a compounded annual growth rate of about over 8% going forward. In Europe, it's about 39% share of the global frozen food market is in Europe, Asia Pacific. There's a whole lot of growth happening around the world, but India is a market where I feel the maximum amount of growth can happen because the adoption is really, really low. The global frozen food market is around $310 billion globally, but the frozen food in India is still nascent. We are still growing. We are at probably around $2 billion at this point, and the potential for growth, considering our population, it's great. So we have a 15% CAGR, but in some categories it's over 20% CAGR. We have, about a 5%, less than 5% penetration. So if you look at a market like the US or Europe, you're looking at 60-70% penetration, or even more in some cases. So again, so this again, what is frozen? So freezing is, like I said, it's a process of heat exchange. So when somebody told what is frozen, so I said it's not putting cold into a product, it's removing heat from a product. So this is something which a lot of people don't understand in terms of other. When I go into the thing, they said other so that's the way. So the whole idea about the cold chain is you actually remove the heat, bring it down to the core temperature of minus 20, minus 18.5 degrees centigrade. At 0 degree Fahrenheit or minus 18.5 degrees centigrade, you don't have any microbial action. It slows down. So bacteria and other things cannot multiply at that temperature. So product will be safe. For up to 18 months or 24 months, you can keep it secure at that temperature, provided it's packaged properly. So this is the entire process. So once you do the selection pre-treatment, you have rapid freezing, IQF or otherwise. You have a cold storage and packaging. Then you have the cold storage logistics, and you have final delivery and usage. Now the whole point of this is you maintain the cold chain. This is what they say about maintaining the cold chain all the way through. Once you have reached that temperature of minus 18.5, you maintain that till it's finally used. This is what this entire process is about. And you need to have refrigerated vehicles, refrigerated warehouses, and the consumer also needs to have a refrigerated freezer to actually hold this. This is how this entire process is done. Now the beauty of this operation is, I keep saying, the value which we have created in the market is we have helped the fishermen and we have helped the consumer along the way. The advent of Abad Foods out here has ensured that during a season when there is abundant supply of fish and other products, the fishermen get a fair price, because without a person like us, the middlemen or the people who are buying the fish would absolutely collapse the market and buy the fish at very low prices. As a consumer, you may not feel the advantage. The fishermen would feel the disadvantage. At the same time, during an off-season, when there is very little catches coming in, we also ensure the consumer doesn't have to pay 2,000 or 3,000 rupees for, say, a sear fish, because there is no catch. And most of the time in the markets, you have a lot of unscrupulous fishermen, people who have actually taken this during season, frozen it whole unhygienically. It is thawed and again sold to the market. So you find a lot of advantages, by actually using us in terms of, because you have an assured quality about how things come. And again, these are the benefits. You have operational efficiency and convenience. minimize food waste, consistent quality, cost effectiveness, and food safety and traceability. So fresh versus frozen, which is better? So again, I think it's more or less what I've actually spoken in the things. So it's more like a repetition. So small video. It's just
My experience with fish at Crayfish Bar, or kind of a rule in my head was I only wanted to work with fresh fish.
Back in the years, this was a huge concern. People always said, gosh, it's frozen, that's really not good.
I think that one of the biggest misconceptions in the world of seafood and just culinary in general is frozen versus fresh.
Sometimes frozen is fresher than fresh because it was frozen within hours of harvest.
Chefs have come to learn when it comes to vegetables that vegetables that are picked at their peak form of ripeness and then frozen can actually be better than vegetables out of season or some vegetables that aren't properly stored. And I think that the same can be said for seafood.
It's harvested from a livestock, it's processed, and hours later, it's then frozen.
When seafood is properly frozen, it's better than its fresher version. So you're basically pressing pause on time when you freeze something properly, and it keeps and maintains the integrity.
all right. So again, how to use frozen products. A lot of people don't know how to use frozen products properly. So of course, first in the story, you make sure that it's stored at minus 18.5 or lower, and also ensure that the first in, first out principle is there. So what you put in first, you take out first. Thawing, again, this is somewhere where people go wrong because they try to force thaw it. So rather than trying to force thaw it, the best way is to put it into from a freezer to a refrigerator at a 0 degree at a +5 so that it thaws slowly. That will give you the optimum sort of a solution as far as that's concerned. Microwave is something that a lot of people do. And some items can be directly cooked, like our ready-to-fry products, like samosas or the cutlets or whatever it is. It can go directly from frozen into the fryer. So the best practice, again we say defrost only what's needed to reduce waste. Again, one of the main things we want to emphasize is on waste reduction. In India, you have between 20 to 30% of all produce wasted. You know, again, this is not related to this, but generally a lot of these products are wasted because of improper storage or improper processing technologies. So coming back to this, avoid refreezing, because once something is defrosted, do not refreeze it, because you will never get that quality, and also there's a chance of contamination. A lot of people I know, they actually freeze thaw, which is terrible for the product. You should not be doing that. Cook thoroughly to ensure food safety, because you need to ensure all products, they go to minimum 80 degrees so that all bacteria, pathogen, if any is there. It's not visible to the naked eye. Make sure that it's properly cooked so that it's all properly cleared. Yeah, so again, coming back to the industry, the challenges. The challenges is there's not enough investment happening into the sector. Cold chain, I think there's a limited cold chain. In my experience, what I've noticed is if you actually invest into the sector, set up a cold storage, set up a cold chain, set up vehicles, the demand comes. So it's a chicken and egg situation in many cases. So you set up a proper cold room, you set up with products, and the market is there in terms of that. Consumer awareness, a lot of people don't know. Like, a lot of things I mentioned about frozen, a lot of people are not aware of the advantages of frozen. Again, the high energy consumption, because maintaining a freezer is expensive because your power cost can be really high. And logistical constraints, transporting the frozen product over long distances. Specialized infrastructure is required. And the perception of freshness, because a lot of people will still go to your neighborhood fishmonger to buy these products, even during off season when there is no fish, which is available. So at those times, a frozen is any day better. There's no doubt, that you actually go in. When there is an off season, there's no fish available. You go there. So I have caterers coming to me, and they say, okay, I have a big wedding coming up in 2 months, and it's off season. So we do, in fact, keep aside material for these people. Like, okay, I need 10,000 pieces of sear fish. We need to make sure that it's available around the year. So we ensure that is available around the year. The opportunities. Now I'll speak about this. There's a lot of government support as far as setting up cold chains. a lot of subsidies are being provided, and a lot of incentives are there. The e-commerce growth, I think there's a great opportunity as far as the e-commerce is concerned, because with the advent of quick commerce, good opportunity to actually get a lot of these products to the consumer fast. R&D and innovation. We have improved freezing techniques. Now you have 3D freezing, you have impingement freezing. A lot of new technologies are there which brings down the cost of freezing and also improves the quality of the product. And growth, the health conscious trends. If you start looking at it, a lot of people are looking at health. Now, the beauty of freezing is it does not diminish any of the nutrients. All the nutrients that are there in the product remain within the product. So that's the thing. So if you buy something fresh, it remains fresh. And this is something which I keep telling people, you cannot bring back lost quality. In any product, whether it's meat or fish or anything, you cannot bring back the quality which is once lost. Once it is decayed or it has come down in quality, there's no way to actually bring back that quality. So the best thing we can do is preserve it where it is. So again, with that, so the future that I'm seeing here, we have rising disposable incomes. Consumption of protein in India is going to go up. There's no doubt about it. You will need a lot more players in this field to expand this field. This is not a one-man job or a 10-company job. It's going to need hundreds of companies out here to actually get into this market. Sustainability will be a key thing, because that's something that we as a company are very, very serious about, sustainability, because we want to use 100% fish. So in fact, now we are working on a project to use all the remnants of the fish to make other value-added products, either fertilizer or pet food or other things. So we're working on that. Unbroken traceability. So maybe going into blockchain or things like that in the future to ensure that from the time the fish is harvested, the meat is harvested, we know exactly where it came from, the origin, the source, so that there is no problems in that field. Improved cold chain from farm to fork, and yes, bringing the world to your plate. Thank you. I'm open for questions.
Start off with, how is it fresh more expensive or frozen more expensive? And say for example, samosas or a cocktail item like fish or prawns, how expensive it will be compared to a kilo of frozen food versus fresh?
Well, it depends. If you're making it at home, that will always be more cost effective. But again, if you're looking at any of these value-added products like samosas and things like that, they always say that if you're buying it from outside, the safety of the food is probably the biggest value. Because I say, what I'm selling here is value. The value proposition is very good if you're actually buying it from a trusted source in terms of actually getting it out there. But I think we are competitively priced in terms of the value of what you're actually getting.
I'm Suresh Kumar. See, about few years back, I visited your frozen, I don't know what the name was, RF also in the Fort Kochi area. As a part of my profession, valuing, making the valuation of the plant and machinery. So I went inside the freezing unit also. It was, as you said, very cold and minus 40 degrees also. Are you using any kind of, you said you are technologically advanced and robots or humans are still going inside that? That is my first question. And the second is, in the Kutanad tourism area, also the houseboats, they are supplying the fish from the food from the local areas like Caribbean, Faraz, etc. I know Kutanad also. Then are you into that field? I mean that area?
Well, I think as of now in India, you will still use humans for most of these things. You do have some level of automation, but right now it's mostly done by hand, like a samosa or a spring roll. It's much more economic, even today, to use humans right now. The second part of your question, in Kutanad and places, we do supply most of those houseboats. So your fresh carabine from Bernard Lake will probably be coming from my cold storage.
I am Mohandas. See, it is said that frozen foods are not perishable. But then I had a chance to work at Dandi, Valsad Dandi. I have worked at Ahmedabad, Bharuch as well as Dandi. So the fishermen, once they go to the sea, the catch, immediately they put in the ice. But depending upon the time, if it is October, they may come back within 2 days. Maybe in April, May, they may come back after 15 days or so. Then how that 15 days gap, though they have put it in, there is a gap, time gap of 15 days. So how fresh it will be?
Well, I think that's where our expert buyers come into play, because we will ensure that what we buy is of a certain quality. There is all kinds of seafood which lands in the market. You will have really fresh, you will have average, and you will have poor. So you will need to select that fish and actually take it out there. Most of the times, the best fish is again fish which is harvested live and actually killed in ice. You actually dunk it in ice live and actually you ensure this is how the Japanese, the Norwegians, and even Europe, this is the way that they would do it. If you have an option of actually getting fish out of the ocean, no? The fish, whether it's in out of the waters of Kochi or in Japan or Europe, it comes out of the water alive. Everywhere, the same thing. So the quality of the fish is pristine the moment it comes out of the water. The problem is the handling which happens after that. So even in some cases, I know fishermen in the US and places who go out into the ocean for 21 days, 1 month, they preserve the fish absolutely fine. How they do it is they remove the offending parts. The offending parts is you remove the gills, you remove the intestines. The reason is that's where the bacteria thrive. So if you remove that, stuff it with ice, and you actually preserve it properly, you won't have problem. But in India, we don't do that. Even the large fish is not handled properly. So then you need to be careful in terms of how you actually handle this fish or how you actually purchase this fish. So we have experts who actually go out there, who are looking at this fish. Even the moment they come into the factories, you have an online quality control person checking this fish. After it goes into the freezer and comes out, you still have the laboratory in-house which is checking for any kind of pathogens or any other contamination. So the only thing you can do right now in this is ensure controls at your end. I hope that answers the question.
Good evening. Thank you for the nice presentation. It's very instructive. I am into logistics industry. My name is Biju. I work at a company called Expeditors. We actually support the industry with the cold chain transportation logistics across India and across the world. And I would like to hear from you what are the challenges and opportunities for a logistics perspective in the cold chain industry. Thank you.
Well, I think it is developing really well in terms as far as the cold chain logistics. The major metros are all well connected. You have large players like Snowman and I think Goldex and few other players who are already out there, Goldman. So they actually have their fleets running to all the metros. The smaller cities are, again, the connection is happening, but it's not as frequent. I believe there are people working towards creating Ubers for the cold chain industry and things like that. Most of the cold chain industry is focused on the export market. The domestic market is still nascent. Maybe the ice cream guys or the pharmaceutical guys, there is some impetus there. But going into smaller cities, like if you want to service some of the smaller cities, there is hardly any cold chain. I think there is a great opportunity in tier 2, tier 3 and beyond. So.
Thanks for a great talk. One quick question. You talked about traceability. Can you just tell us what you're doing in that?
Well, currently, I think from the time it comes in to the harbor, we have control. The moment I keep saying I don't have any control over the fishing activity, we don't involve with that. My point of contact with material comes in from the time we procure it from the harbor. From the moment it comes to my factory, I have full control. So that's why I said the quality control, this is that. So we will be putting each lot which comes in as batches. We'll be looking at any kind of problems within that batch, all the way till it reaches the consumer. Going forward, you want to have some kind of an audit mechanism like a blockchain or something where you have complete purchase so that everyone knows. You know, the consumer can probably scan a barcode and find out where this fish is originated, who's the fisherman who caught it. So have the entire, it's possible, but it's just a lot of hard work at this point. But we want to bring in that level of traceability going forward.
Good evening. It was a good discussion. Me too. My name is Minnie Elizabeth. I was also in the logistics industry and I've handled a lot of Abad exports, seafood. So, but my question to you is a trouble I face in the kitchen, because we are a micro family. You just now said that it has to be thawed as per the portion we need. So we find it challenging, to thaw it, because the whole thing has to be thawed and then only the portion we need, we can take it. So that's one challenge. Next is, you said that you're serving from Kanyakumari till Kashmir. How do you do it now? Right now, what's the logistics?
Well, there are two ways to do it. Larger batches, we actually send them in refrigerated trucks. Smaller batches go in thermocol boxes with dry ice. That's the only way you can actually handle this. As far as the micro family is concerned, most of the products are IQF. I would recommend you buy IQF so you can use what is required. That's individually quick frozen. So if you have chicken which is IQF, you can actually take as much as you require. If you have fish, you can take as much as you require. So focus more on IQF products, which will help you with that aspect.
Thank you.
Yeah, another concern related to sea fish is the level of mercury. Do you have that in-house facility to test mercury? That's a growing concern. Another question which relates to the South Indian market of cold supply chain. Can you just give that some idea about what is your role? Another thing is Indian salmon. That fish is also very most sought after fish. Are you doing the supply of that or preservation?
Okay, so I think it's a three-part question. So mercury in fish, mercury is usually accumulated in fish. So it goes from a large fish eating smaller fish and it accumulates over time. So if you have large fish like tuna or something which are like 30 kilos, 40 kilos or larger, you will find the accumulation of mercury. We are currently checking for histamine. So we check for histamine on a regular basis on every lot which comes in. Histamine happens due to the degradation of a protein called histidine in the fish. So we do check for that. Mercury testing is a very expensive process which we don't do unless there is a market demand. Now, for example, the European Union demands us to do a mercury testing, we do it. So the only way to avoid is to avoid larger fish if you are worried about mercury. Now, in small doses, it is not fatal or dangerous in that sense. We do recommend that pregnant women or people with any kind of neurological diseases avoid mercury. But there is no 100% safe way of saying that there is no mercury present in fish. You need to do a testing and it will become economically unviable to actually do mercury testing on every single fish which comes in. So you can test on a batch on a water, maybe one single piece to it. That is the honest answer. I can give you a bullshit answer, but that is probably what it is there. Sorry, your other question was
Supply chains.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
South Indian market.
South Indian
Not
market.
supply chains.
Yeah. So what I currently do is we have our own cold storages for our products. Like in Kottayam, I have a cold storage. In Thrissur, I have a cold storage. In Kumali, I have a cold storage. Munnar, we have a cold storage. So wherever we supply, we set up our own cold rooms, and we do our own logistics. The problem is in larger cities, you have public cold rooms that are available. You have these trucks which go from point to point, but they don't do piece breaking. Like for example, I may have a customer who needs 2 kilos of French fries, 3 kilos of peas, 5 kilos of chicken, 10 kilos of fish, and something else. So larger cold storages don't do that. So we have our own facility to handle those kind of things. So like a hotel or a restaurant would probably require that kind of a sorted mix, which is not possible if you are in a larger cold room.
Salmon fish.
Oh yes, salmon. So Indian salmon is not commercially available in Kerala. I know that you have a lot of this fish available towards the Bombay side. It's called Ravas out there. but it's not a true salmon. It's not the salmon fish which you find in Norway, which has got a lot of benefits. The salmon fish has got a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. That's the Norwegian salmon which is found out there. The salmon here is definitely good, but it's not the same salmon. We don't deal with that because there is no commercial requirement for it. Maybe again, you're probably one of the few people who actually asked for it. not many people asking for Indian salmon.
Thank you. And now I would request our Joint Secretary, Mr. Anand Verma, to propose a vote of thanks.
Good evening. Your body is what you eat. I think Dr. Jain will also agree to that. So in this scenario, like in this century, to supply good foods is very difficult because everywhere it's adulteration and manipulation. So I think I really congratulate the Faraz and team Abad for making such an initiative to supply good food, fresh food to everyone. And thank you once again for that very insightful presentation and Q&A session. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. Thank you. Also thank all the past presidents, MC members, and all KMM members and young minds for being this evening. Thank you. And I also request past President Dr. Nirmala to present memento to the Speaker of the Day. Thank you all once again. Thank you.
Yeah, before we went, I have to request all of you to kindly stand for the national anthem.
We'll sing Janaganamana, Janaganamana, Vinayaka Jaya He, Bharata Bhagya Vidata, Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha, Dravida, Ulkala, Ganga, Vindhya, Himachala, Yamuna, Ganga, Uchala, Jalajidharanga, Tava Shubha Name Jahe, तब शुभ आशीष माहे, गाहे तब जय गाथा, जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे, भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे, जय हे, जय हे, जय 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 हे.
Hey, how are you? Doctor, you are coalition.